And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. So the church news finally popped up something today when the employees showed up to work from Friday, but dated it for today. President Camille N. Johnson encourages Travis Wayne Goodsall to go over videos studying the words of Dallin H. Oaks. They didn't even do it yesterday. They did it today. It was Friday. She was at Rick's College. Rick's College. But it's not Rick's College because the building did not exist when I was there. I was going, oh, is that where I won the volleyball tournament? My team and I? Nope. It's a new building. It ain't us. It ain't us. Yeah, the video series on Dallin H. Oaks is how you're supposed to study the words of the prophets at conference. Take them apart line by line, precept upon precept, and run the test. And see whether or not the fruits are good or bad. And Dallin H. Oaks failed. I didn't even get to all of it. I only got halfway through the videos that I had. I had the one where he tells Mormons to commit crime, cyber crime. And that's where Net Nanny came into being, was because of Oaks. Net Nanny was a malware virus during the AOL days of computerized internet, in which the church promoted it. So my dad got it, thinking he's going to be protected from porn. Don't click on it, Dad. You're protected. Amazing. And so he installs it on the computer device, and he then begins resuming his regular activities. And it ties into emails as well. And so he has a number of people that have Hotmail accounts, and Net Nanny flagged Hotmail as a false positive for porn. And this is where the malware virus kicked in. It crashed his system because it registered a threat to the system and thus crashed it to protect him. And the dumbass fallen for this con, because we were connected via the telephone lines, even though I was on a different line. It sent the surge to my computer and crashed it too. So I was no longer able to access the internet. And you want AI, do you? Well, it did work very well for Trump for the election in the voting machines. Trojan horse AI. But yeah, this is where we get the stories about the different porn sites that have virus malware that attacks your computer just by clicking on a porn site. This is where it all comes from. Christians, led by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to show us that porn is evil by being evil themselves. And so, yeah, he's telling Mormons in that conference right before he tells women that they're porn to attack other people, spy on other people, hack other people's computers. Former prosecutor, former Utah Supreme Court Justice, ordering over the pulpit of conference for Mormons to commit crimes, terrorist activities, 18 USC 1030s. I think that's for using a computer device as a weapon in the federal law code. So yeah, I didn't get to do that video or the others, but this is what I do for conference. Every conference I study the words of the prophets, specifically Nelson, but occasionally Oaks and other dumbasses speak up. So yes, I'm the one who exposed that the church is perpetuating the fraud that Lorenzo Snow gave a certain tithing talk when it only came from the BYU movie production. Yep. They put it in a manual. I know the people who worked on those manuals. I know what they were told not to do, and they did it. So, this is Holy Week for those of us who follow Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. And if you're going, Holy Week? Nelson didn't talk anything about a Holy Week. It's because he's not a new Israelite. He's one of them Christian abominations. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Jewish New Israelites. In case you hadn't read your Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. And so this is the Holy Week. The Feast of Tabernacles for the house of Israel. From 1 Kings chapter 12. Back in those days, the king was also the government and religious leader, a theocracy, as the Christ, because a Christ is a king. Christ is a seer, as a religious leader. And so today we do not have that. And because the prophets who wrote scriptures were prophesying of the latter days, they were dualistic in nature. One side having to do with government, the other for religion. And so when we realize that we are in the latter days, we know who the government is now, don't we? And so who would be the religion? Oh no. Is it? I'm sure it's that Warren Jeffs guy. Brigham Young. Not authorized. And so the government side is going according to prophecy, because the enemy purposely is causing it to happen. Realizing not a single 4 billion people on the earth would ever recognize what they're doing. Because they took the prophecies, they understood there were days and hours given by them called revelation, and have been using it to coordinate their evil plot to destroy. I went over that in the Illuminati video over the weekend. And so yes, that's why the inverted pentagrams are a part of Brigham's church. It's because he's Illuminati. But it's the religion side that we're still waiting for the final four. It's the religion side that we're waiting for the curse of Joseph Smith. Because the curse of Joseph Smith does not follow the government. The presidents of the United States do not fit the pattern that only Brigham Young's religion fits. The curse of Joseph Smith. And Mormons have spread the myth and the lies that those who had murdered Joseph and Hiram were cursed, and they met gruesome, ugly deaths, just like those who entered King Tut's tomb. No, both were lies. There was no curse of King Tut. It's just with the specific dust trapped for millennia and then opening it up. You have to have oxygen tanks and hazmat suits. But Deuteronomy 19 is where we see the Jewish law concerning this. It's for false accusers. A false accuser is judged by his false accusation. So if you say that somebody committed murder, you're taking them to court for it, you, as the false accuser, gets punished for the crime of murder. That's the real intention of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That which you falsely accusing another is the same punishment that you get judged by. And so that's where the judgment of Matthew 7 comes in. And so Joseph Smith Jr. was murdered during a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, and stars falling from heaven. And thus that now becomes the sign to all of Brigham Young's presidents and followers to know that Joseph Smith's God is the one true God. And he's pissed with those who murdered him and will get his revenge. Different than Trump's revenge. Because I warned you, the final four involve fall, give me a minute, I don't have it memorized. There it is. Transfer of authority, oh well, the Exodus, and the building establishment of Zion. And so, yes, Trump's transition team is well underway. The fall has occurred with AI. The transfer of authority was the other last week with Biden, and the House for full MAGA nation preparation. And that's number 4, the establishment of Zion as MAGA nation. One nation under Trump, indivisible, with mass murder and mass deportation for all. That's the Exodus, mass deportation. And he's now going to, as we all knew he was, if you paid any attention to him back in his first presidency, everybody wants to play dumb and forget. He's sending in the military to help with the mass deportation. He's got the people chosen to do the mass deporting, and the MAGA states are all set, ready to go, and MAGA people are already threatening, sending out threats on cell phones. These are death threats. What do you think the military is going to do? They're not going to put up with people who are slow and unable to leave. They're going to start shooting people. People who want freedom from the countries of oppression that they came from. People who want the American dream. And here they are vilified by MAGA as the enemy, terrorist, rapist, disease-carrying, sex traffickers, druggies, gangs. And so you get those few people who go, yeah, let's help MAGA. Let's be the villains to make this happen. Make it get out of control. And so if you think that the rest of the states aren't going to be involved, dear God, you're fooling yourself. There are almost 100,000 undocumented persons in just the state of Utah alone. And so, yes, the military will be brought into the state of Utah once again. It's been almost 200 years since that fateful terrorist threat to the United States by Brigham Young that postponed even further Salt Lake Temple. I dare you, Nelson, I dare you to send Trump a death threat and a terrorist threat. Two more years, you say, huh? Yep, it's coming. And so we need, for those who want peace, safety, and refuge, for the fall of the great and abominable church, for the transfer of authority, for the Exodus. It's all set, ready to go, and the establishment of Zion. It's all set, ready to build. And so this curse of Joseph Smith has all happened. Brigham Young, John Taylor, Wilford Woodruff, Lorenzo Snow, Joseph F. Smith Sr., Heber J. Grant, George Albert Smith, David O. McKay, Joseph Fielding Smith Jr., and that one's special because that one was the one for the birth of the Mormon Christ. The true Mormon Christ is born, as he is the impostor from the fruit of the loins of Hiram Smith. Harold B. Lee, Spencer W. Kimball, Ezra Taft Benson, Howard W. Hunter, and he was only in there for 9 months, and still he fit the curse. Gordon B. Hinckley, and the big one to start us off for the latter days, Thomas, Spencer, Monson, fulfilling not only the curse, but also Jewish prophecy and revelation. Day and hour, remember? And so with such accuracy, fitting the pattern, it just baffles the mind to conceive that Nelson is gonna escape it. Oh, dear God. Okay. See, I'm gonna have to do some more tweaking when and so these latter days, see, the prophets knew who I was when I filed a petition for a redress of grievances. So I was never supposed to see the light of day ever again. But I was miraculously freed because of 3 key retirements. And with perfect timing. Because in 2014, oh my hell, began the warning to Mormons. And yet not a single Mormon would know how to understand it and interpret it, even though they are told in scriptures about it. Sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven, in association with the curse of Joseph Smith. 2014 to 2015 on both Passover and Tabernacles of the Jews. So the Mormons would know it's Exodus time. The latter days is about to begin. Prepare for the coming of your Christ, Mormons. And not a single Mormon knew and understood, except for Chad Daybell, who saw Jesus, and Jesus said, "Kill zombies." The devil never protects his own, Chad. Yeah, I understand last week Lori purposely skipped her hearing. She's not happy either. But Mormons just don't get it. You are not free to do whatever you want and avoid the consequences. Nelson is not free to escape the consequences of the curse of Joseph Smith. It's coming. It seems impossible for him to escape it. And just like it's impossible for the Final Four to not happen after everything. And that's what we're doing. We're going over everything that's happened already. That I am the one who prophesied and revealed for you. Being a translator, being a seer, so that you would know me by my fruit, not by my title. Oh, the Pope is now changing to the title of a prophet. I guess they're now true. Just like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is no longer racist. Now they're true since 1978. And they're again no longer racist since this year when they finally put in Amazing Grace in the hymn book. Now they're true. Now everybody can join the church. And they're no longer homophobic. Since 2021, when they stopped conversion therapy in the state of Utah. Now the church is true. They're still not true for women, though. Women are still getting abused. Do not be fooled. You got to understand the laws concerning prostitution and sex trafficking. And then remember, tithing is not a donation. It is required for worthiness. Yep, it's not the sale of indulgences, it's section 119. And so this was supposed to let Mormons know this is it. Every lunar eclipse in this cycle, 2 sets, 4 times. Joseph Smith, 2 sets, 4 times. Pay attention, Mormons. The 23rd of September, or 22nd of September, 1823, was during the Feast of Tabernacles of the Jews. And boom! See, that second vision was brilliantly crafted by Joseph Smith, because it's not literal history. Remember, he's a prophet, and a revelator, and a seer, and a translator, having the keys of Moses, not Peter, James, and John alone. And not a single Mormon believes it. Just disgusting that Mormons could be this wicked to deny their founder in the Book of Mormon, deny who they are, and choose to follow Lucifer and call him Jesus. But I'm the one who also pointed out that there were solar eclipses. And the ones in 2015 were on the first day of the years for the religion in March 20th and for the civil on September 13th, with 77 and 88 making their appearance, as my Hinckley dream would tell me about. And so, yes, between that final year, between the 2 lunar eclipses, Perry, Packer, Scott bite the big one. And lo and behold, Scott dies on Yom Kippur, September 22nd. Like I said, multiple ways with the second vision. Brilliantly crafted by Joseph Smith. And not a single Mormon knows it, because I just told you. And so Hales, well, 2016 actually, we got to go to that one first. So we got to go to this file. Need to put them in order. Way behind. It's getting bigger and bigger, getting out of control. Dogs and cats, mass hysteria. So in 2016, you have your typical Passover and Judah Feast of Tabernacles. That is on the 15th day of the New Year's. Passover for religious, Tabernacles for the civil, and you can reverse them into the sevens. It's the 7th civil month for Passover and the 7th religious month for Tabernacles. 7-7. Hinckley Dream. Letting me know that my exodus from the church's bondage will be for the exodus of Mormons from bondage of the church as well. Because I have the keys of Moses. I am the seer, the prophet, the revelator, the translator. And it just seems inconceivable that we won't do the final four after all of this that I'm going over with you. It's just inconceivable. I do not think you think what you think that word means. I know I didn't quote it right. And so, the 2nd civil month, or the 8th religious month, 8 and 8, 7-7, 8-8, Hinckley Dream, on the 15th day of the month, which was the 16th to the 23rd in 2016, it was Wednesday to Wednesday, is the House of Israel's Feast of Tabernacles, tents, booths, ingathering, harvest, keys of Moses. And thus began, because on that day was conceived immaculately Virgo with Jupiter. From Revelation, from Isaiah, from the Book of Mormon, from Matthew. So that Mormons would know he has been conceived, Mormons. Don't abort him. Don't do it. There is. Back to that. Got a video to make to save Mormon lives and be rejected. And so it came after the government with Russia, Steve Bannon, Facebook, and oh my God, I'm forgetting his other name. Paul Manafort. Plus other ways. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you can find. You know, all part of it. And so I then have my start of my mission dream, first part of February 2017. I then fulfill Revelation chapter 12 about the flood, as Nelson gets to be a part of that too, as he's in Salt Lake, safe from the flooding, where I go straight into the flood to save souls. With a partial lunar eclipse, 10th of February 2017, Revelation chapter 12, verse 13 or 15. Apparently this is not as clear as it should be. Which means I'm going to have to redo that. That does not make me happy. And so the big event that I knew was coming in advance, been doing the videos, it's my #1 video of the 2 events that I knew was coming, that I made in July 2017 because of Fox 13 News Utah telling us on the 4th of November 2016 there's going to be a total solar eclipse over the whole United States of America for the fall of America. Exactly what I meant. And so, sure enough, after that came the religion part, the coming of the Christ, fulfilling all scripture prophecy to Mormons to save them from bondage. 23rd September 2017, I begin my ministry to Mormons. And it's sad and pathetic if you saw the other church news articles this morning about all the so-called title prophets and their ministry. They're not ministering. They're trying to get money. And so, then Revelation continues to happen. Revelation 12, verse 3, or verse 4, if it's the Joseph Smith translation version. 17th of December 2017, the 5th dark day of Hanukkah, Jewish holy day, in case you're unfamiliar. 21st of August was the ancient Egyptian religious calendar New Year, which means the Egyptians knew all about this too, because that's their big story for all Egyptians to follow. The coming of the Egyptian Christ Horus to restore the kingdom of his murdered father from his uncle. Set with the N at the end in Paleo Hebrew for Satan, King Set. And the plucking of the eye of the sun. Solar eclipse to start the latter days and the ministry of the Egyptian Christ. Dun 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 dun. And so, I don't have the 2021 up, which probably make this even longer. Probably should have the 2016 with the 2017 and then the 2021 separate, and then do the 2024 one with the final House of Israel Tabernacles. Do them in 3 segments so people can read them better, rather than having to zoom in. I'm getting closer. I'm starting to see color. And so, yeah, this year, 20th of March, this time it's a lunar eclipse instead of 2016, which was a solar eclipse on the first day of the year. And so now it's Purim of the Jews, the book of Ishtar, Esther, in which the weapon that was used to destroy the Mormons is the weapon that the leaders of the great and abominable church will have used on them. And so sure enough, Nelson failed for conference weekend. And thus the urgent need to scam the new female president of the Community of Christ out of all the temple documents, or the temple and the documents. Not the bones. They don't want the bones. They want to steal the documents and steal the property for themselves, because that's where value comes in. They don't have value with bones. They're not like Catholics who purposely built the Vatican in Rome and claim they have the bones of Peter to literally fulfill the scriptures as literal history true, just like the first creed said it is. And so 8 April came on the last day of the Jewish religious year. See the reversing from 2016 to 2017? All letting Mormons know we are Jewish. We are not Christian. These are Jewish prophecies. These are Jewish holy days. And so Revelation 19 also, verses 11 and 17. And then Jupiter is the lamb in Aries, the sacrificial lamb. And thus Samson takes down the Philistine temple. Right, Bruce Armagongi? Not the building. With his death as well. Because it's not literal history, it is prophecy. Telling stories from the constellations and the conjunctions that they foresee in the future. The great solar eclipse sign of the death from Paleo-Hebrew script, the first and the last letters. The coming of the Son of Man, that all the world saw together, fulfilling that prophecy too. And not a single person on the face of the earth but me and those who watched my videos knew of it. Nobody knows that everything has been fulfilled. And so then, 9th Ave. That's a Jewish thing. That's when both Babylon and Rome destroyed the Jewish temple. And so, as the prophet Daniel interpreted the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, so would be the restoration of the Jews, not Christianity, who are the feet of clay mingled with the iron, or iron mingled with clay, because Rome is the iron. Oops, Christians made a boo-boo. And so this year, on the 13th of August, we have Elijah versus the priests of Baal. 1 Kings chapter 18. the water was poured over the altar of Utah at the beginning and at the end and in the middle. That was a good day. And then to repeat 9/11, I didn't do the 2020 one, did I? I talked about it and I didn't go to it. I stuck with this one. Then 9/11, to remind us that Nelson fell last year. As I did the countdown video, which is immortalized on the internet by a guy who left it up and didn't understand that it got fulfilled 3 weeks later, as we are told afterward. Nelson was too humiliated to admit that I was right. Oh, how thou art fallen, O Russell Marion. And so, yes, this year was the lightning from heaven striking the altar of Thule, Utah. Yes, I know it's not Thule. Which would then go on to be the number 200 temple. The fire proceeds, and Nelson still will not give you up so that you can be free. He really is mocking God, to quote Kimball. He really thinks he's going to get away with this, does he? That despite all of this happening, despite all the curse of Joseph Smith happening, Nelson still thinks he's going to get away with it, does he? That takes cojones. And so, then we had the doubled pattern lunar eclipse on the 18th of September. And then, boom, the last day of the civil year, 2nd of October, 2024, the final solar eclipse for the year. And so then we get the October surprise. October 3rd is New Year of the Jews, Rosh Hashanah. October 6th was the Feast of Gedalia. October 12th was Yom Kippur. October 17th to the 23rd. Interesting. Is the Feast of Tabernacles for Judah, which technically is the 16th because it's in the evening. And so it matches the days with the 2016 one. But it's the 16th to the 23rd also for the House of Israel one as well. But we first get to, well, that one's 17th to the 24th. Yeah. Well, got the calendar up here too. Yeah, it's evening of the 16th to the 24th at 6 p.m. And then, and so then we get to the House of Israel Feast of Tabernacles. That's a direct pattern match with 2016. And this one does not have the one with 2024 on it. So here we are. Holy Week. Joseph Smith has been trying to prepare us for the coming of the man like Moses, to free you from bondage. This is a good segue to go back to 2020. So let's bring it up first, so I don't forget again. And because nobody succeeded properly when Joseph Smith was murdered, the default for the latter days kicks in. The coming of the Messiah ben David, one mighty and strong, man like Moses, the Mormon Christ. Section 103, verse 16, for the Exodus, the redemption of Zion. Redemption of Zion is number 4. The Exodus is number 3. The freedom from bondage with the fall of the great and abominable church is 1. The transfer of authority so that we can go to in the Exodus is number 2. Therefore, I will raise up, plagiarizing that Bible again. Jewish law even, unto Mormons a man who shall lead them like as Moses, the keys of the office of the head of the church. And it ain't Nelson, because he don't claim those keys. He claims Peter, James, and John for seed planting. And he can't even get that right. For Mormons are the children of Israel, the new Israelites, seed of Abraham. They must be led out of bondage from the great and abominable church. So why didn't Bruce R. McConkie decode verse 16, Babylon? Babylon's long since been perished. It long since fell. Must be the United States of America. Couldn't possibly be the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yes, it is both, because the enemy is going to destroy the government. But that which they seek to do as the false accusers is that which will happen to them. Still waiting. Still waiting. And so it just seems impossible that after everything that this won't happen. Because this is what happened in 2020. Pharaoh sued in Pharaoh's court. Or Moses sued in Pharaoh's court. And with one of the charges, it was then used against the lesser people on January 6th. All because Barr had to be shown it, because it was RICO, Insurrection Act. And so that's how it was brought to the prosecution's attention, the Attorney General's attention. And so thus, when they finally decided to find the people responsible and lock them up, that was the charge they used. Ta-da! And so authority. Yeah. Keys of Moses. Seer, prophet, revelator, translator. The drought. Yep. 3 dark days. Yep. from the first year to the second to the last year and the last year. The first and last letters of the Paleo-Hebrew script over the whole United States of America, so that Mormons will know beyond a shadow of a doubt, with every fiber of their cereal, that this is it. They're going to prove that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true. And so stars fell from heaven, all right. There was even an earthquake, too, from the angel Gabriel, letting Mormons know, hey, the guy whose birth you should have been celebrating the day before, he's here. And then Oaks would come out. Well, he came out already. It was on the 14th. Should probably get to him too, because he confesses that he's the enemy. And creeping death, I don't know, did that happen? Should we consult the prophets, Metallica? And thus, with the drought came the big event that I didn't even know I had it in me. I parted the waters of the Green River. And the church and Nelson are just going to get away with it? They're just going to get away with it, huh? Because Oates got leaked. A sister missionary recorded him on the 14th of March 2020. And then another returned missionary this year had reposted her recording for his video, as he had the hots for her. Apparently she's not married yet. Not barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen. As a prostitute for Jesus. Right, Oaks? Porn. That's why women have to cover up and hide in the kitchen. Oaks tells them, and they're not supposed to record this, this was only for them. This was not to the church. The church was never to know about it. He tells them that 2020 is not going to be the end of the world, but merely a test, a trial run for the second coming. Now, it has nothing to do with the Jewish version. It's the Mormon Christian version, which involves the coup of the government at Adam-on-Diamond, where Jesus is given the keys of government. All shall bow to Jesus in 2024's election. Mass murder Jesus and terrorist coup insurrectionist Jesus. So I'm sure they're telling the truth about Jesus. Why would they lie? And the church, sure enough, made a record amount of money over everybody else that year. That's called rigging the stock market. There's an actual term for it. So yes, they did it. Jesus Trump Christ has been resurrected His second coming. And he's going to utterly destroy this nation, so that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can get their kingdom back. So you have no need to fear, Mormons. Turn that frown upside down. As a former prosecutor, as a former Utah Supreme Court justice, he got involved in a seditious conspiracy. And I warned my government, and my government did nothing, even after I was right. It's all happening. All happening. So why is it going to fail when we're almost there? It just seems inconceivable.